I mean, I enjoyed it, but I'm glad I got out of it. Okay, so there's that one. This one and this one. So this one goes over here. Okay. And this one goes over here. Okay. Now, here's another thing I started to work on yesterday and I stopped because it started getting late. This thing. I wonder if I can unplug this. We have a little bit. Okay. This goes to a squirter. This little reservoir hooks up to this momentary switch down here. Down is on, up it's momentary. Meaning if I'm sitting here with it open and my hand in it, if I lift it up, it'll squirt. As soon as I let it go, it stops. If I turn it down, that puts the power on, and it's supposed to work through the remote over there. That's what's supposed to happen. Okay, however, this is empty. It was just flopping around in there. And the rubber hose wasn't on this. This thing was really stuck. And that's one of those things to where you're not going to want to take it off because it was really in there so it wouldn't leak to fill it. So there was no way to fill this thing. I had to use pliers to get this off. So what I had done was I took it off, put a new seal in it. I put some silicone seal around the outside just to make it a little bit more of a seal. And then I took a piece of vacuum line here and I put a makeup funnel at the end. So now I put it in there and sealed it in with hot glue and silicone. So now at least they're going to be able to fill this thing from out here, because this thing was a blooming nightmare. Now I don't even know if it works, but I can't tell you if it was going to work or not if we didn't have water in it. Then the hoses were so shot that we had an issue with that. Now this hose, believe it or not, is an air hose. This goes down underneath and comes out down up under here with a little nozzle of sort, just like a little empty, like a squirter, like an opening of a hose. Because this thing was sealed so tight that it needed air intake in order to pump out the water. I mean, that's how tight that top was. So there was no way you were going to fill this. Plus, there was no way to get to it to fill it. Because when the top goes on here, again, there's no room, especially where this was. Because this, I finally found that they had it down here. Well, the little compartment is back here. You just have enough room to get your hand in and turn the switch on, check a fuse, now anyway. Before there was no fuses, it was in there. But meanwhile, it's way up here. And it was laying this way, which also means it's not going to get to the bottom of the water, because it was always just, you know, it's sucking air, it's not sucking air, it's sucking air, it's not sucking air. So the right way is to have it upright, and that's what I did there. Now, one of those top pieces coming out, so that I would know which one it is, I made it red. I put some red marker on it, because again, nothing's marked. So I put a red mark on it so that now I can take the hose that I also put a red mark on, if I can find it. Yeah, this is it. And I put a red mark on that one so that I know that red goes to red. Simple, right? Right. Okay. Okay. Red. Now as far as, and see here, if you can see that red. So this one, will go on this one. It's red. Red to red. This one is the air. Now, that's another story. I really don't know if we need all this hose here or not. I mean, but I'm going to leave it there. And we're just going to put this over here and hope that it doesn't clog up. But at least now you'll be able to get to this thing by putting your hand through it. Okay, so that's all set. And then I just got to find a home for this, which is not a problem. So, where are we at? All these little things, just putting this back together, things that I've worked on, take time. People don't understand that. They just don't understand. You know, one little thing can take you, what looks like a 20-minute job can end up taking you 2 or 3 hours. So, alright, so that's all hooked up. I'm thinking of just cutting this and letting it hang down inside. It's not a big deal. I mean, it needs air, so, but we'll see what happens. I mean, if worst comes to worst, I can just put my hand down in the top and cut it. And that's about it there. Now I got to find a little home for this. And what I'm thinking of possibly doing is, so we have this plastic here, bringing this out because the top piece goes over all this. So I'm thinking about bringing it out over here someplace so that you can fill it through the door. Yeah, you know what I mean. Because this part over here, over here for a minute. See this piece? Well, this lip is what fits over this right here. So this piece is going to be coming out here. So I have to be able to get out to this somehow. Now what I was thinking, but I really don't know. You know, it's just one of those things to where, let's see what we can do. But what I was thinking was possibly just drilling a small 1/4-inch hole here and putting the hose up through it with the funnel and have the funnel glued down into there. You follow me? I think that'll probably be the best bet, but I'm not going to be able to do that until I get the top on to make sure that I'm drilling in the right spot. And then I just seen this switch, which I have no idea what that switch does because there's nothing here to push up against that. Okay? Because this piece fits around this edge out here. So there's nothing that's going in there to push that switch. So that switch is apparently something that has to be done manually. So you would have to lift this door up with the stereo on it, or the tape player, or whatever it is that they're using. And that's about all the room you have to work with. See what I mean? Now, with that water reservoir that used to be way the hell up in there, there was no way to get in there. There was no way to get to it. There's just barely enough room to get the battery out of here. If this doesn't work, I would say, you know what? Take this out of here because you don't need that. if you need a tape player to play tapes, and that's all you're going to do with this thing, because I don't know where the head of the radio is, meaning the face part, you really don't need all this in here. So it'll also give you more room. Let's disconnect this fuse just in case. Is it blown? No. So let's get it out of there, because it's not working anyway. Alright, so let's take this back off. Alright, so I gotta find out what that does, and I want to get one of those eyes working. Those are the eyelids that you're seeing. They work off as servos, and then there's 2 speakers here as well. And this plugged into the back of the stereo, which only works as stereo, and I think maybe 4 speakers. The 2 that are up here, and there's 2 up underneath, up under here next to the wheels. That's what we have. Whoops, you're not going to be able to see anything down there now, are you? No. Hold on. Hold on a minute. Alright, so what have I done up so far till yesterday and today? Which was not a lot, but it takes a lot of time. That's why I'm saying that, you know, I've had this here a long time, but I don't work on it 8 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week. I work on it 1, 2, 3 hours a day, 3, maybe 4 days a week. Because again, I do have other things I have to get done around the house. The yard's a mess. Right? You know, I got wood over there. I got never mind. Anyway, I put in a new fuse box. I put it out here. It takes the blade fuses instead of the glass fuses. And the other glass fuse box that was here used to be inside here. Alright, so let's see if we can get this done real quick before the battery goes dead. Okay, so yesterday I came out here to start putting this together, which you can see that it's pretty well put back together. I am not positive as to what works yet or not. I still have to do the body work. I'm not going to take it out as is and then bring it back in and all that. When it leaves, it's going on the trailer, whatever condition it's in. And then they said, bring it back later, you know, when you're done with it, at open house, and keep it for the winter. Well, that's all well and fine. I mean, I don't mind it being here, you know, but at that point, and they're not rushing me up until the other day, but that's a whole other story. So I come out here and I noticed this thing. This is the pump system for the squirter up front, which I really don't approve of, but it's not up to me to make those decisions. And anyway, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, well, wait a minute. This reservoir was just dangling around. Well, it can't just dangle, because if I put my hand down in there, I can touch the wheels. So if that gets down there, it's going to jam up the wheel system. So it has to be put in place. I'm looking to see where it may have gone, because there was 2 pieces of Velcro on it. Well, it went there. Well, the door is here. There's no way in hell that you're going to get in there to fill this thing. So, and it was laying flat instead of up, so it wasn't going to utilize all the water that was in it. So there we are. Okay, so what am I going to do? Well, I got to start thinking of something here, because we want to have it hooked up. Something works. That's one thing that I don't have to screw around with this winter. And seeing that I'm putting it back together, it's a good idea to get any things that's hanging around tied up if I can. So with that being said, I decided to, okay, take the tank, and I wanted to see what was rattling inside. So I figured, well, let me open it. Well, there's a little top right there with these 2 hoses going in, and I put a little red mark on one. That's the actual pump part. So that draws the water up, runs it through the pump, and pisses it out the squirter. So I said, well, okay, has no water in it. Let me take that off. Take that off. Well, that thing was permanently affixed so that it wasn't going to leak air or it wasn't going to leak. But okay, well then how do you fill it? Because that thing was, like I said, permanently affixed. You can tell that it hasn't been off. The seals were all rotted. They fell off in my hands. I had to use pliers to get it off. You know, and okay, well I fixed it up the best I could, put new seals on it, then I put a little silicone on it when I put it back in, too. One is to help it slide in, two is to help seal it. So I got that done. And then I put a red mark on the hose and on the unit so that you know red goes to red. This other one coming out goes down there, the clear one goes down there, and that's the air intake. It has to have air in it, otherwise the tank will collapse. Then, how are we going to fill it? We still have that problem. So I drilled a hole in it, and then I sealed the hole with silicone and some glue, and I put a makeup funnel on the end of it, so that, and I tried it, and you can fill it. Now I have to wait until I get the top on it, so that I can figure out where I'm going to put this so that you can get to it. So that's going to be the next thing. Took the fuse box that was inside this piece here, right about here, inside all that. And if the fuse blew, the only way to get to that was to take this whole plate off. And the only way to get to that is to take the whole top off. Yeah, so it's just asking for a disaster. I mean, you know, so if a fuse blew and it didn't work, you look, you know, you may check a couple of these little external fuses that have nothing to do with anything other than the pump for the water, the squirter. So then you're going to say, well, I don't know, there's something wrong with it. You know, well, it could have been a fuse. Who knows? Or you see it in the paperwork saying where the fuse is, but then you got to find somebody that's going to want to take it apart to check to see if a fuse is blown. So I took that out of there, which was the old glass fuses that they ran a jumper up here to make all these hot. All right, except for this one because that goes to an amp. But at that point, that's what they had. So what I did was I rewired everything and brought it out here, and I put the new fuses in there. So now you can reach this from outside, see the fuses. If the fuse blows, the little lights light up. It'll let you know which one is blown. So you don't even have to check them. You can see right from here if the fuse is blown or not. And you can just stick your hand in there and change it. Easy, simple. Now, this is something that the company should be doing for the amount of money they charge for this. Now, however, let's not get into that. All these little things that are simple little things take a lot of time because you have to figure out on one, relocating it and where's the best place. Then you have to relocate it and change and relocate everything. Okay, these came in, and here's one of the cheese graters. Yeah. Yeah. Ta-da! Now, apparently this is the cheaper one. I thought the better one was being shipped. This one isn't really rounded. This is more flat. And this also has this little blade here, which I really don't care for. But this is the $5 one, $6 I think it was. But I mean, it'll work. But you got to hold it and kind of do it this way, where the other one should be bent on a little bit of an angle this way. So, but this one will work. So that's what that is. And I'm going to take these out of here real quick because I got to put a magnet on these. These are not magnetized. These were $9. If I bought them magnetized, they're going to cost me $20. Well, you know what? Stick a magnet on it and I'm all set. A couple days, they'll be just the way I need them. So let's take this over here. Hold on.